Operation Bridge starts, in Polish Operation Most. It was basically an air bridge. The Soviet authorities had finally allowed the Soviet Jews to migrate to the Holy Land, to Israel. The decision is taken on June 14th, 1990, that this operation will take place through Poland. So the Jews in the Soviet Union, they need to contact the authorities, they need to prove their Jewish heritage, they need to get in touch with the Israeli authorities. But after the Soviets stamp all the necessary documents, they are allowed to board trains, the Moscow-Paris train, which goes through Warsaw, and in a very secret operation, because at that time the first Intifada had started. There is full-out war in Israel, and the 70s, the 80s, the early 90s, our slightly older viewers will remember that Arab terrorism was
a big feature in Europe as well.
A big feature in Europe. Planes getting hijacked,
people being kidnapped.
Munich Olympics and so on. So the terror threat was
very real.
Was significant. This is why the operation is done in secret. The Americans are also in on it. The Poles, they go and meet with the World Jewish Congress in the US. They meet with the director of the CIA, who also is involved in creating the plan. And they are taken piece by piece. In the end, more than 40,000 went through Poland. They arrive by train to Warsaw. They are taken to a facility they arrive to Warsaw Gdański railway station, from where they are taken at night usually to facilities of Legia Warsaw Football Club in the Bemowo neighborhood. There they stay for a day or so before they are processed, because they are checked over and over again. And then they are taken to the Warsaw airport, where planes from the El Al, the state-owned Israeli airline, arrive and start picking them up. Soldiers, doctors on empty planes, 767s, arrive and start picking up hundreds and hundreds of Soviet Soviet Jews, and take them back to Israel. Quickly, however, there are Arab embassies of Arab states in Warsaw. They realize that something is going on. They have their own intelligence services as well. And suddenly these cars from various embassies, usually the Syrian embassy, start arriving at the Warsaw airport, rolling down windows and start taking pictures of Jews trying to enter the airport. So they knew what was happening. The security had to be kept at an even higher level. So altogether, up until 1992, another 40,000 Soviet Jews leave through Poland. In the following years, in the 1990s, after the fall of the Soviet Union, that wave of Russian Jewish migration to Israel transforms the demography of the country. I mentioned in a previous episode that up until that point, you could say that Polish and American Jews were the main founding blocks of the Jewish state. After 1990, the Russian is added. And as that Polish migration was mainly from the years before the Second World War, during the Second World War, and immediately after the Second World War, those generations start passing away. Their children have not been taught the Polish language. Many of them were initially, they spoke only Yiddish, but since Hebrew became the state language in Israel, many parents felt that forcing a third language on their kids was a little bit too tough. As I mentioned earlier, many of them also had negative connotations from the Second World War due to what the Germans had done on Polish territory. And they felt that Poland was somewhat a finished chapter, and they didn't want to pass on neither Polish culture, Polish traditions, or the Polish language. So throughout the 90s, the early 2000s, this Polish component of Israel starts diminishing, while the Russian grows. And that has led to some problems in Polish-Jewish relations recently, as many of those Jews are more willing to take on the Russian perspective of things. So, for example, with the war in Ukraine, we could see that there is more support and understanding for the Russian position than for the Polish or the Ukrainian for that part, even though there's a significant Ukrainian Jewish community in Israel as well that supports Ukraine. But theoretically, if there would have been a Russian-Ukrainian war, say in 1975, then there would have been many more people in Israel that would have taken a Polish perspective, so to say. So this air bridge in 1990 to 1992, it initiates a process that is still ongoing. The Polish position in Israel, because of that, is diminishing. And now we have another air bridge, Operation Neon. So you had Operation Most, 1990 to 1992. Now we have Operation Neon with this war that has erupted and will go on for the foreseeable future. It is undoubtedly the case that Israel is preparing a ground offensive against Gaza.
Yes, indeed.
And they will take over that territory again. They held it up until 2005, so it's probably just going back to the old situation, so to say. Poland has already evacuated around 400 citizens or so. Polish military planes are flying shuttle traffic between Tel Aviv airport and Crete in Greece. Then from Crete they are taken back to Poland on regular planes, but these military transport planes are being used because they have the necessary military technology and equipment to detect any missiles flying towards the airport. And
Adam, I'm sorry, the clock in the corner of the studio is telling me that the time for this programme is over, so if we could pause it there, we'll pick it up next time. There we are, as usual, time has defeated us, but fear not, if you join us next time, as we hope you will, we will continue the story here on Poland Daily History.